and welcome. This is Usha Chudasama from Parent Your Happy Child. I'm a child and adult psychotherapist, and I'm on a mission to empower parents to raise happy children through my online courses. Now, today I'm interviewing a parent that completed my online course. Her name is Rachel Berg, and I'm going to let her introduce herself to you. So welcome, and thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day, Rachel. Tell us a little bit about you and, what day-to-day life as a parent looks like at the moment.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. Day-to-day life at the moment, well, we're recording this in the middle of lockdown, so day-to-day life is different to normal.
Yes.
Prior to this, I am a mum of 3. I have a husband. We live in Woodford Green in Essex. I have my son Archie's almost 11, Kitty's 9 in a couple of weeks, and Annie, the little one, is 4.5 almost.
Okay. Yeah.
So we have a busy life. I work for myself. I work from home. So that's a juggle. And my husband works full time too. And yeah, the kids are all in sort of full-time education. The little one's in nursery. She'll be starting reception in September. So it's a lot of activities and a lot of a organised chaos is how I'd probably describe our life. Disorganised chaos, probably most people would say.
I think you were right first time round. Organised.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
and you have the same kind of issues that quite a lot of people have at the moment with the homeschooling, trying to work at home. It's quite stressful, isn't it?
It's really stressful. The homeschooling particularly has been really stressful to the extent that we've it's half term this week, luckily, so we haven't got to worry about it.
True.
But we haven't done as much homeschooling as I'd have liked because it was really stressful. My son found it really overwhelming, and I just thought that actually I took the decision that they are not going to learn if they're getting really stressed over it. That's not a conducive kind of to taking in and learning and picking up new things. So,
and I think that's a really good thing to do, is ease the pressure on yourself, because that helps them to ease the pressure on them. Sorry.
Exactly. And the school they stay in touch with us, and I've said, we really haven't done very much, and they said, don't worry, just do what you can. It's just a few weeks out of the grand scheme of things. In there,
drop in the ocean.
This is it. So it's easy to fall into sort of not peer pressure, but to see the other parents that are doing and they're getting everything done, and you're like, oh my God, we've just had an argument for half an hour over 2 maths questions.
Yes.
And I would say that the kids, they do realise, they know that if they kick off for long enough, that I'm going to be like, fine, get it. And so to a degree, maybe I'm feeding into it, but ultimately in these sort of circumstances, I think you've got to do what you can to get through it. And it's been a really tough time for everybody in the world, literally. And
so you've talked to me about some of the struggles. And how long have we known each other? What is it, about a couple of years now? I think.
Years now. Yeah.
So what? Go on.
We first met in person when I came to one of your workshops, I think.
That's right. Yeah. Yes.
And I can't remember if I was a beta tester before that or after. I can't remember.
I think it was after, because I hadn't created anything before that.
Right.
Yeah. But I remember that you'd brought in quite a few other mums in a similar position.
That's right.
Yes. What was it about? Emotional intelligence, I think, the topic. Yeah. That was.
So we're in a nice school. And there's a lot of lovely sort of community. We've got lots of friends and people to kind of call on. And I do think that this sort of thing is so important for us as parents, because it gives you a feeling of control back, to be honest.
Yes.
Because otherwise, God, it's so unpolitically correct, but sometimes it feels like the lunatics are running the asylum. Or the tail is wagging the dog is probably a more polite way to put it. But if you can kind of have some strategies under your belt.
Absolutely. And that was all it's about. Absolutely. So it's about empowering you. But what was life, or what were the struggles before you met me? So as a parent.
Definitely to do with children listening, and I know you've got a lot of kind of even more resources on that now. Listening and getting children, and I think it all boils down to listening. I can't think of one problem that isn't involved in that. If they do what you say or what you ask, then there's no problem. But it's always in a minute, I don't want to, and that kind of thing. And it's, as you said, choosing your battles of which one you're going to go, right, no, we are doing this, and which battle you'll say, oh, fine, whatever, go to bed in your whatever fairy dress, if that's what you want to do. Like,
and what you're talking about are some of the strategies that I've got in to help you feel empowered. So I mean, there's kind of struggles that you had with them not listening, not doing as they're told.
I think that would be the main thing. And then my own stress levels, I think bedtime was probably quite an issue back then, maybe not so much now, but again, during lockdown, we relaxed rules because they don't have to get up so early.
True.
And that's also about choosing your battles, I think. Not with the little one, she still goes to bed at sort of a normal kind of time, but the older ones, we do let them stay up because they're able to sleep a bit more in the morning, and then you're not spending an hour arguing with someone trying to get them to bed.
Absolutely. But you talked about your own stress levels. So, as a parent, what was it like for you? Because you said, okay, your stress levels went up, but what did that mean? So when your stress levels went up, how did that impact as a parent?
Yeah, it impacts the whole household, I think, because you're the captain of the ship. So, if you're feeling stressed, and sometimes your stress might not have anything to do with the children. It might be to do with something to do with work or another sort of external factor.
Yes.
But as always, the people closest to you feel it. So then if the kids are being disobedient, or better words, or if they're being annoying, then they may get the brunt of it. You get more stressed, you shout more, and it might be that this child has annoyed you, but that one gets the brunt of it because they say something at the wrong time, and then you feel guilty because you've shouted at everyone or what have you. So then it's just this horrible cycle of doom. You feel guilty, so you get more snappy, and then you feel like you're not being listened to, or you're being taken for granted. So
exactly.
It can spiral down. So finding a strategy to help with it in the moment is really, really beneficial.
Absolutely. And when you get into that cycle, and what you've just described is like the beginnings of sibling rivalry, and children, because when you're in a stressed place and you have a go at one child, or you take it out on another child, what you'll also find is that one child will be so hyper good so that you notice them.
Yes.
Did you find that as well?
Yeah, it wasn't me. Me.
I'm always good.
Away. See? Yeah, it's true.
And for you, you've got 3 children, so all of them are different ages as well. So that means that the strategies that we use have to be different for all of them. So what was different then, Rachel, about the work that we did together compared to any of the strategies that you may have used or tried before?
I think some of it was because the children were involved, so they knew, and I think there were some videos that they watched or that we watched together, weren't there? So I think that helped, that they knew that this is what we were doing, and we're doing it so we can all be calmer and happier. So getting them involved in it, because they do appreciate that, my children, certainly the older ones, to say, right, look, I don't want to be shouting at you, I don't want to be stressed, so let's work together to do this, and to get past this problem. So I think that is part of it, because often when you're reading, if you read a parenting book or a something like that, and I always have since they were babies, I'd always sort of grab onto any resources that I could to help me feel to get me through, like the routines and everything else when they're little babies. But at least at this point we were able to say, right, we're doing this together. This is like a family challenge that we're going to do to make this circumstance better.
And in the course, I call it the family quality hour.
Exactly.
Quality time. It's quality time. So I think you mentioned before I started recording that relaxation was a really good activity that you did together as a family.
And particularly at bedtime. So even with Annie last night, like she felt like she couldn't sleep, and she was sort of can't sleep. So I'll sort of make up a story often, but one that's about relaxing sort of through your body, like that kind of PMR thing, and it definitely helps. Definitely,
Yes.
once you can get them to just sort of stop wiggling about and listen and pay attention, that
Yes.
definitely helps
Oh,
relaxation. So that's quite sweet,
yeah.
certainly for her.
And like you say, you know, we did this, or rather you did this course a little while ago. So what does it look like? I mean, are you still using some of the strategies now?
Yeah, I'm sure I definitely am. Without, and as I say, because it was a while ago, I probably don't even necessarily in my mind accredit it to something that I learned. It's just something that I do. Like, for
Yes. Well, that's
example,
good.
like the positive descriptive words,
Yeah.
that is something that I definitely do, and I know that the school does that as well. Sometimes they call it I know it's different, but proximal praise, I think they call it at
Yes.
school. So it's
Hmm.
saying well done to the one that's not being
Yeah.
naughty,
Oh, that's, yes. Yeah.
but
Hmm.
similar, not the same, but
Similar.
also
It's not the same, but
well
yeah.
done, you took your
Yeah.
plate in. Or, and I know,
Yes.
like at the moment, when we went into lockdown, every time obviously they come in the house, they have to wash their hands, right?
Yes.
And you would hope that kids would normally do that, but they don't. They wash their hands after the loo or when they're going to eat, but not always when you come in the house.
No,
Whereas
that's right. Yeah.
now
Uh-huh.
it's
It's a
second nature. I
habit.
don't have to tell them anymore. You know, as
Yes.
soon as you come in the house, straight in, hands. I don't have to. And sometimes with the little one, I'll say, right, what are we going to do as soon as we get in the front door? We're going to wash
Hmm.
our hands.
Yeah.
So I will, you know, if I'll
You're
occasionally, like,
preempting. Hmm.
yeah, I'll say to her, like, when I haven't reminded her, well done, you know, I'm really impressed that you wash your hands. I don't have to tell you every single time. And she helps me cook a lot. So as soon as she, you know, she gets her little steps out and she
Oh,
goes to wash her hands, and I'll say, you know, well done, you know, and just things like that to reinforce that I'm not having to nag anything that I
that's
don't
it.
nag for.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'll say things like, well done, you came off the PlayStation without me having to shout at you, for the older one. But, you know, it's a big deal. Oh, it is a big deal.
It
Um,
is. So
yeah.
then, you know, with all of that, how is that changed the family environment?
How's it changed it? Yeah, it
Yeah.
helps everybody. That just makes everybody happier, I think, doesn't it? It's less, fewer arguments. You know, don't get me wrong, we're not sailing through harmoniously in our 8th week of being confined pretty much to the house. But yeah, I think it helps the children feel happier, and as a result, us feel happier. We
Right.
feel happier and less stressed.
Yes. Yeah. And that's a different kind of a cycle, isn't it? It's not a vicious cycle. It's a happy cycle.
Yeah, it's a positive cycle, positive
Positive
kind of
cycle.
reinforcement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's certainly the part about choosing your battles. That that is that's a big one. It's kind of what I alluded to with bedtime before.
Yes.
Like, does it really make, what we say to the older ones is, you're allowed to stay up later, but you're out of the lounge. It's grown up time, so we might be watching something on the TV that isn't suitable for little ones to be coming in and out of. So it's like, right,
Mm.
you can stay up later, but you go in your room, or you know, out in a different room with
Yeah.
whatever it is that you're
So you
doing.
set the
So
boundaries.
we set the boundaries.
Yes.
They're allowed
Hmm.
to step later, but when we tell them, right,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, they're staying up to like 11,
Yeah.
but they don't have to get up so early for school, and I'm
Yeah.
fine with that. They're
Yeah.
okay. They're not overtired in the
Yeah.
daytime, and it means we don't have to argue with them, because you'd spend an hour going
Yes.
to bed,
I mean,
and then they
these are
come round in.
exactly. I
Yeah,
mean, these are unprecedented times. So, you know, you have to go with the flow. You can't, you
yeah,
know, be so strict. Yeah.
mm,
And it
mm,
seems like they're getting the work done. You know, you're setting the boundaries, and they're doing as
yeah,
they've been asked, and
yeah,
everyone's happy.
yeah,
So
yeah.
so this course, would you recommend it to other parents, and why would you recommend it?
Yeah, for sure, definitely, because it gives you that kind of feeling of um I've said this already, but it's taking back some control of the situation, because it just becomes this like self-fulfilling prophecy where you're like, oh well, this evening's going to be another nightmare, bedtime's going to be horrendous, she's not going to eat her dinner again, we're going to have that argument over screen time, and it all just sort of propagates, doesn't it? And it all becomes, you know, it all just happens, you kind of
Yeah.
attract that to you. Whereas when you stop and say,
Yeah.
right, what can we do? Let's just do this one little thing. So like the acknowledging pain thing, that's another thing that you said, right? It's like when they hurt themselves, or whereas you might want to go, oh, come on, like you're fine, like there's not even a scratch on you. Be like, oh, darling, I can see that that's really upset you. Give me, and that helps. So different strategies, whereas normally you might go, I don't know, certainly with my son, if he's ever hurt himself and I was to not give a suitable amount of compassion, or you're like, oh, come on, that didn't hurt, he gets really upset. To just say that, and that kind of what's the word, kind of, I've forgotten the word that I'm trying to say, but when it diffuses the situation a little bit. So it's even those kind of strategies I would recommend, because it stops you from flying off the handle or going into that, like, as I said, that particular example, well, it does hurt. No, it doesn't. Stop being dramatic. Yes, it does. You're always so dramatic. You never understand me. Blah 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 blah. And then that goes off.
And then it festers. It festers.
Exactly. It grows. And so I find that I would definitely recommend for those different strategies. And as I said, realizing that actually I use so much of what we covered together in our day-to-day kind of parenting, and the illusion of choice thing as well, where it's like, right, so do you want to have a bath now, or do you want to have a bath after you finish watching whatever you're watching? So it's not like, I'm not having it. Well, I mean, we still get that, but it helps to sort of prime them for just having fewer arguments. Really, that's all that matters in this house.
Yeah, exactly. Harmony. It's about reducing the levels of interactions where it's not helpful.
Exactly.
All right, thank you. Okay, well, I just want to say thank you so much for giving me your time today. And
awesome. And thank you I'm really excited to have been part of it, and to see how, I'm excited that other people are going to be able to learn from this as we have done, because I would certainly recommend it. It gives you a bit of grace on yourself, because mistakes do happen. It's okay, because you've taken on a new routine, or you're learning new strategies. They may not work straight away. Not every strategy will work for every child, even every child within one family unit. But it helps you to kind of pay attention to your own child and your own reactions, because as I said, we are the captains of the ship. And they do take a lot of lead from us and our kind of moods and emotional states. So if we can help to rein that back in, then it can only be beneficial.
Absolutely. And you're doing a fine job, during lockdown, and trying to keep it all together with all the work that you're doing, trying to homeschool. It's hard work, but thank you again for
it's my pleasure,
all the time that you've had today. Thank you.
Thank you, Usha.